This is TechKnow, a show about innovations that can change lives.
The science of fighting a wildfire.
We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science
Oh my God!
by scientists. Tonight, the digital divide,
If you had the world's fastest internet, what would you do with it?
the promise of the digital superhighway, lightning-fast hookups to the web, but not for most of the U.S.
The church. Most people come here to pray, but you come here for what?
I come here to do my homework.
Unless you live in the right spot.
You can just instant 4K movies at your disposal.
Now TechKnow investigates the politics of technology.
Can you talk about the lobbying presence of these big companies?
It's the haves
They can actually put the MRI on steroids.
versus the have-nots.
Digital divide's like right down the street. Like you can see what you're missing.
Yeah.
Costa Grammatis is an engineer who's designed everything from bionic eyes to space satellites. Dr. Shini Samara is a mechanical engineer. And I'm Phil Torres. I'm an entomologist.
What would you do with 1 gigabit per second?
That's our team. Now let's do some science. Hey guys, welcome to TechKnow. I'm Phil Torres, joined by Costa Grammatis and Dr. Shini Samara. When you hear Chattanooga, Tennessee, you don't necessarily think of a digital hub, but in fact, they have the fastest internet in all of the Western Hemisphere.
Phil, how fast is the internet at your apartment?
I think it's about 8 megabits per second.
In Chattanooga, every resident has 1,000 megabits per second, a whole gigabit for them to use.
How long would it take to download an entire movie?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Lightning fast, HD movie.
Let's
and
just
you're-
go to Chattanooga and watch movies all day. That's incredible.
I'm
Place.
totally in. But wait, hang on. The USA rates 26th on the global scale of internet speeds.
So, yeah, why is Chattanooga so advanced compared to the rest?
Well, if you go right outside Chattanooga, they're still using satellite and dial-up in order to get online. There's nothing else.
It really seems like that town in Tennessee represents this digital divide that we don't just see here in the US, but around the world. Let's take a look.
It's 5 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, and high school senior Peyton Van Hook is at his church just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
The church. Most people come here to pray, but you come here for what?
I come here to do my homework. Most of the time, because our internet's so poor at home, I have to come here.
Can't do it from home.
No. We have satellite service at home, so after we go over a certain amount of data, our internet gets slowed down to just about half the speed of dial-up connection.
Remember back in the 90s when a dial-up modem was a must-have for anyone who wanted to get on this thing called the World Wide Web?
But what do you need to establish a connection? Here's a starter list. You'll need a computer and, of course, a modem. You need to establish an account with an internet service provider. Patience and a sense of humor will go a long way when you encounter your first glitches on the internet.
But no one has patience for a 56K dial-up modem connection today, not when fiber optics are available. With fiber optics, where data is sent as light down a glass fiber, the internet can reach gigabit speeds, meaning you can download a feature-length HD movie in about 30 seconds. The technology exists, but few cities in America have it, and the first city in America to attain it wasn't New York or San Francisco. It was a city better known for its southern charm and rural living, an American town more famous for its trains than its tech, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I'm gonna go to YouTube and I'm going to watch the trailer for Birdman, and it's already halfway loaded. That's incredible. You can just instant 4K movies at your disposal. Why doesn't the rest of America have these speeds? Why Chattanooga?
Most cities really haven't made the investment and haven't, spent the resources in order to be able to do it. I mean, this isn't fancy. Anyone could do what EPB has done, but they've done it.
Tom Hoover heads up information technology for the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. Technologically speaking, he's right. Chattanooga's so-called gig isn't fancy, but this isn't about science. This is about the politics of big cable. Chattanooga was like most U.S. cities until the municipal power company called EPB came to the rescue. Comcast, America's largest cable company, and the State Cable Association sued not once, but twice to prevent EPB from bringing the gig to Chattanooga. Tennessee State Senator Janice Bowling is a key player in the legislative battle to bring the gig to the rest of Tennessee, which has pitted her against what she calls the legacy providers.
Can you talk about the lobbying presence of these big companies in Tennessee?
The Hill was swarming with new lobbyists representing AT&T in particular, Comcast and Charter. Wow. My name was not used in nice context by a lot of people at that point. We really do need this in Tennessee. We need it across America.
Chattanooga's plan went up in 2010 thanks to the municipal utility.
The latest upgrades from existing providers were not coming to Chattanooga.
David Wade is the chief operating officer of EPB. He says they built the gig in order to enable a smart electricity grid. But it also brought ultra-high-speed internet to the citizens of Chattanooga. Chattanooga raised $220 million in bond money and nearly $112 million in federal stimulus funds to build the network. Now, in addition to providing electricity, EPB provides high-speed internet, phone, and television to more than 72,000 homes and businesses.
What would you do with 1 gigabit per second?
Oh, all the things, so many things. I wouldn't have to come to the church. I wouldn't have to spend so much gas money.
Peyton is one of the 19 million Americans who do not have access to fixed broadband, such as DSL or cable, in their home. And it's not just rural areas. In major cities like Miami, Cleveland, New Orleans, Dallas, and Philadelphia, over a third to nearly half of households lack any option for high-speed internet. But in Chattanooga, the map tells a story of haves and have-nots that's difficult to understand unless you follow the politics of high-speed internet. Peyton's family invited me into their home in Bradley County, just outside of Chattanooga. It may look like any other residential suburb, but this section of town is different.
Digital divide's like right down the street. Like you can see what you're missing.
Yeah.
The Van Hooks live across that divide. Just a few miles down route from their home, the internet moves at the speed of a gigabit.
When you bought this house, did it occur to you that you wouldn't have internet access?
When we came out and toured, there are cable jacks in 4 of the rooms here in the house, and so we had never thought that we wouldn't have access to any kind of cable service.
So far, there has been no cable company willing to provide service to their street. Not AT&T, not Comcast, not Charter.
We had 3 different technicians come out here to evaluate the property, and the last guy, he came out and he said, listen, I'm just going to be real honest, even if you do pay for the wire to be laid, they're not going to provide you service.
But EPB wants to provide service to Peyton's family. They don't mind laying the cable, but state law won't let them. Recently, Eva Van Hook traveled to Washington to participate in FCC hearings on the matter.
Eva's from Bradley County, Tennessee. She has to go 12 miles so that her son can see the biology videos that he needs to have for the next day's classes.
Folks outside of our service territory are standing up and starting grassroots efforts.
In the meantime, EPB is reluctant to expand until state laws are changed. Meanwhile, the battle for who gets to offer fast internet in Tennessee is being watched closely by other states, which would also like to roll out municipal fiber cable.
What is it like using the satellite?
Have you ever read a book while you were surfing the internet?
No, I haven't.
That's what it's like using satellite internet. That's about the speed that we're talking about.
Can you pull up like a YouTube video?
So we'll try to watch the Community Broadband FCC commission meeting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you just click that. Wait.
Where did it go? It's not even gonna like play.
It's like there. You can see it's thinking about it really hard.
Oh, there we go.
It popped up.
Kinda.
Slow clap for the internet. In the late 1800s, Chattanooga, Tennessee was a city of steel, a hub for the foundry business, but that steel eventually turned to rust. By the 90s, its downtown was a virtual ghost town. But today, this mid-sized city has reinvented itself as a tech hub, due in large part to what they call the gig, 1 gigabit per second.
If you had the world's fastest internet, what would you do with it?
Mike Bradshaw heads up CoLab, a nonprofit which nurtures startups with everything from office space, mentorship, and not least of all, access to the gig.
And so we started some programs. Gig Tank is the program CoLab produces.
One of the startups that has come out of CoLab's Gig Tank program is a company called 3D Ops that creates custom 3D models of organs for medical scans like MRIs.
So an MRI comes in through your super fast internet, you put it through your algorithms, it creates this shape.
In about 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, then you throw it into a 3D printer and out comes this.
Exactly.
So these are the 3D printed models that you speak of.
Absolutely.
And there's a tumor inside of this. You can see that tumor here.
Where they can actually put the MRI on steroids, if you will, having it where they can hold it, take it apart, plan, actually practice the surgery. That's tremendous to them.
I'm blown away.
And it's not just entrepreneurs that have come to Chattanooga for the relatively cheap high-speed internet. According to the FCC, the gig helped lure big companies like Amazon and Volkswagen to the area. In January, President Obama even highlighted Chattanooga as one of the few places in America that can compete with cities like Seoul and Hong Kong when it comes to internet speeds.
Citizens got together and made the investment to bring competition in and make sure that internet speeds were just as fast there as anywhere else.
When it comes to internet speed, the US currently ranks number 26, behind Latvia, Belgium, Taiwan, and Romania.
That's sad.
Why is that sad?
We should be world leaders. It's not where I want America to be.
But it's not just economic advantages. There are also educational opportunities that Chattanooga students can boast being the first to enjoy. Across town, at a science magnet high school in Chattanooga called the STEM School, students are about to operate a 4K microscope that's actually located at the University of Southern California.
You just hit the enhance button. Have you ever been to Chattanooga?
I've never been to Chattanooga. I've never seen the Tennessee River. And so my first glimpse of the Tennessee River will be with microscopic samples.
So they're shipping you samples to look at and explore.
Yes. We're seeing our microscopic creatures called rotifers. And maybe I could have the students there move the stage around on the microscope a bit. So they're controlling the microscope here 1,800 miles away.
So beautiful. I think everyone here's mind is kind of blown that we're watching this in real time across the country.
This link up between the STEM school and USC is enabled by what's known as a Genie Rack, located at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
The Genie Rack, essentially, it's the next generation internet. That you can do simulations, that you can do some high-speed computing, and you can really test out some things that, traditionally you can't.
The Genie Rack and its ultra-high-speed connections will usher in the internet of the future, and it's all been enabled by the latest fiber optic technology.
You're at basically the first round of trying to transmit information down fiber, so you have unlimited capacity into the future. All you have to do is change the electronics on the end to get more capacities.
Coleman Keene is the director of fiber technology at EPB.
So how much data can you pump through one piece of fiber?
We can do up to 10 gigabits on any single fiber. There are optics that we can get that are much higher than that, so 100 gigabits or whatever per fiber.
But while the city of Chattanooga may be contemplating a 10 gig or even 100 gig future, the gap between the internet haves and have-nots is widening. Ironically, at the STEM school, where students use a 4K microscope, where iPads have replaced books, some of the students have trouble getting their assignments done when they go home.
Is doing your homework hard on your satellite internet?
It can be.
Tell me more.
Because, it's satellite internet, so it is based on, weather and stuff. So if it's really cloudy out, then I'm gonna have trouble, being able to go onto web pages and stuff.
Have you ever not been able to do your homework?
Yes.
And you told the teacher, like, sorry, my internet died?
I've told them, but you know, they're teachers, so.
Currently in 19 states, it's prevented for municipal broadband to exist. Why does that happen?
We get poised a lot of time is it's big, bad EPBs picking on these little mom and pops like AT&T and Comcast that are significantly, I think they're 1,200 times our size and
poor
stuff.
guys.
I don't know of any reason why that would be a good thing. I think competition tends to raise the bar for everyone.
And indeed, the battle for who will provide high-speed internet to the masses is heating up. As of May 2015, Google Fiber's 1 gigabit per second service is available in Kansas City and Provo, and coming soon to Atlanta, Nashville, Charlotte, and Raleigh-Durham. Not to be outdone, Comcast recently announced it would start offering 2 gigabit service in Atlanta, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Chattanooga. But for now, Peyton and his family will continue to miss out. Peyton vows to fight on.
We've got a Facebook page, we've got a Twitter page, and we've got a website.
And you can't visit them because it takes an hour to load.
I can't administrate them, I can't visit them, I have to do it all at school.
Whilst preparing this segment for TechKnow, we reached out to Eva Van Hook, who told us she was surprised to see charter cable trucks parked outside her family home. So we asked her to take pictures for us, which appear to show cable wiring ready for installation. So it seems that after 11 long years of asking, the Van Hooks may finally have better internet service. TechKnow asked Charter whether their decision to wire the block was based on the Van Hooks' activism and support for EPB's expansion in Chattanooga. And a spokeswoman told us, quote, Charter's decision to build infrastructure for customers on Gum Springs Road is strictly a business decision and is unrelated to EPB's plans. TechKnow also reached out to AT&T, Comcast, and the Tennessee Cable Telecommunications Association for comment on the digital divide. There was no comment. Now, Phil's got a really fascinating story, but it's also an adorable one.
Guys, I've never been jealous of a dog before until I met these dogs. They actually travel around the world saving endangered species, and they also fight invasive species right here in the U.S. So let's go to Montana, take a look. Near Polson, Montana, biologist Amy Hurt is using one of the most effective tools available to prevent an invasive species infiltration. Her four-legged furry partner, Wicket, is a conservation dog, trained to sniff out endangered species as well as invasive species. When did this idea of using dogs in conservation get started?
Field biologists have taken their pet dogs out with them all the time, you know, when they've been looking for something. And that dog, the nature of dogs are, you know, oh, you looking for this? Here, I'll help you with this. I can find it, and they point it out. What conservation detection dogs do differently is that they're trained to find something, and maybe this month we're working on one thing, and then next month we'll be working on something else.
No muscles there. On this deployment, the dogs will be working to detect mussels. Zebra and quagga mussels will clog industrial pipes, coat and contaminate beaches, and cause harmful bacteria to wipe out ecosystems. The Great Lakes region of the U.S. is considered ground zero, where mussels were first introduced and rapidly spread. So far, Montana is one of the few states that's remained mussel-free. Let's meet our team of hardcore hounds. Wicket is a 10-year-old black lab shepherd mix. A former pound dog, she's now learning her 20-second scent.
Yeah, here.
Tia, a German shepherd, just returned from her work with blunt-nosed leopard lizards. She now knows 11 scents. And Lily, 6, is a yellow lab. She was abandoned by 5 different homes before becoming a conservation dog. She's helped track cross-river gorillas in Cameroon.
Okay, we got the thumbs up. Go check it out.
Are these dogs traditional family dogs?
These dogs don't make great pets. They're high energy, high focus, high intensity. These are the kinds of dogs where if they don't have a job, they're digging up the backyard. They're not traditional pets in that regard.
So they may not have been adopted had it not been for you guys.
Yeah, these tend to be dogs that are at increased risk for euthanasia in animal shelters because they are bouncing off the walls and too much dog for most families.
But for this assignment at a muscle checkpoint on Flathead Lake, their intensity is just right. So tell me, a boat arrives here, what happens?
We bring a dog out on leash and we start at one side of the hitch and we work around the boat with the dog. And the dog will independently pick a lot of places to sniff, and then our job as a handler is to identify other places we would like them to check.
Using a test sample of crushed frozen mussels, co-founder of the Working Dogs for Conservation, Alice Whitelaw, demonstrates how a pack member will signal with an alert if she does find a mussel.
Show me.
She's right.
Good girl.
Wow, she found it.
Good girl.
Despite all the technology and innovations used by conservation biologists around the world to detect animals, nothing is better than or less expensive than what Mother Nature has already provided in the form of a dog's nose. That's because a dog's nose has about 300 million olfactory receptors versus humans who just have 6 million. The olfactory portion of a dog's brain is also about 40 times bigger than ours is. The Working Dogs for Conservation Center in Bozeman, Montana has deployed their dogs to 18 states and 13 countries around the world. Protecting endangered species is another huge part of their work.
Show me, I know. He's out here. He's a good boy.
At a Bozeman school thousands of miles away from her next deployment in Africa, Megan Parker is training partner Pepin on Pepin's 21st scent.
We're training dogs to detect ivory in Africa to help stop traffic through particularly Zambia is where we're going to be deploying these dogs.
Pepin will be at a busy checkpoint stopping vehicles suspected of smuggling ivory. Animal poaching has become a global epidemic with extreme violence and illegal profits increasingly linked to terrorist organizations.
Estimates are 100 elephants a day are dying, 30,000 elephants a year. If it continues at this rate, elephants could be extinct within a decade.
This is the biggest chunk that we have. And we'll just put it here what's really obvious.
This is just Pepin's second day of training, so we were able to see how easily working dogs pick up new scents.
He's my hero. He is so happy to work, and he'll sit on a plane for 2 days and come off and just hit the ground running.
I think in 10 years' time, virtually every agency, every university, nonprofits will all have their own dog teams working.
Alrighty, thank you.
Phil, I want to know what treats they're feeding these dogs. I mean, their noses are just so sensitive. Is there a technology that actually rivals what these dogs can do?
No, they don't even need to give them treats. They just give them their favorite toy. These dogs just love playing this game of detecting stuff. And that's where you get a difference between dog and machine.
We don't hear much about invasive species. How big is this problem?
You know, it doesn't seem like the most appealing thing to report on for some reason, but it's a $120 billion problem every year here in the US. So it is huge, and those dogs are absolutely on the front line of defense. Guys, I think we had this amazing combination of tech and nature today, where we had these fiber optic cables and also a dog's nose. And that's what science is all about. So join us next time here on TechKnow. Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/techknow. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and more.